What is up? I'm Jared Welch. He's Aaron Halterman. This is Blinkers Off. It's a couple different things going on tonight. We got a new background here. We are doing it on a Wednesday, and we're talking Aqueduct late Big Four. So no need to wonder if this is the Magic Mike show. This is what we're doing.
It's the glory days of racing, right? The 2 weeks after the Breeders' Cup, where this show usually talks about stakes races. And I'm like, you know what? I think we could go without talking about the Native Diver and the Red Smith and the Chaluque, and let's just talk about pick 4 from Aqueduct. I think people would like that a lot more. We've been hot with Aqueduct right now, so I think it's good.
Yeah, I mean, it is in we're in that middle, like you said, that kind of middle time of whenever you don't have really much to talk about for whether it be the Derby or you have the fall, like the really good, like kind of like Secret Cigar and all these older, or the Pegasus, like we have nothing. So it's just kind of like, I'm with you. Trust me, whenever you're like, I was like, hey, what are we doing? What are we doing for the pod? Like, well, we would do pick 4. And then I definitely did not expect you to say Aqueduct. But the sequence, the late pick 4 sequence at Aqueduct on Saturday, very interesting. It's the what is it? The Red Smith, is that what it's called? The stakes. It's a great 2. It's actually not a bad stakes at all. And then you got surrounded that. You got some maiden special weights and some interesting races that kind of paired with those. I mean, even that race itself is not any kind of lock, and so it's a really good sequence. And like you said, we've been really good with Aqueduct this meet so far.
Yeah, we have. Everything's doing well. Every product doing well at Aqueduct so far. The free rocket product hit free pick 4s on Friday and Sunday. We also had the paid pick 5 hit on Sunday as well. Paid over $2,000 or almost $2,000, I should say. So yeah, I think it was a no-brainer. And like I said, I think it was the best sequence. We obviously were debating between Churchill and Del Mar, and I don't necessarily call those sequences bad, but I think we could go a lot of different ways here. I think you're going to see that we went a few different ways here. And, it's kind of fun. We don't like to take Magic Mike's theme very often, but again, it just feels like the better show would be to do a pick 4 from Aqueduct this weekend.
The better show doing a better show. You know what I mean? Like, that's just it, the text that we got from Magic, he's like, just ran, because we scheduled these, on StreamYard when we use this, and
yeah,
we all can see it, and then he got on there for something, I guess, and he's like, so let me get this straight. You're doing a Blinkers Off today, and you're doing the Aqueduct late pick 4. Like it's like, I'm sure he looked at that like for like a minute straight, just like, what? Did I schedule this? Did I don't remember scheduling. Did I actually do this for Blinkers Off? But no, this is what's happening. So if you like us handicapping, we're diving back in to some actual racing. Halterman, you've started, I know, before we get into that, you started kind of going into the Derby stuff a little bit. I know the 2-year-olds, obviously Bob Baffert, shocker, won a 2-year-old race, stakes race last week. Seems like that's all he does, right? Is win 2-year-olds right now.
Yeah.
How are you? We're like a month, right? Almost exactly a month, really, away from the draft. So how are you kind of handling, looking at these Baffert horses? How are you going to handle for the draft? How are we gonna do this? Because it just seems like, I mean, you could just like any year, really, but you could come up with 10 Baffert horses right now that right now cannot. Either don't have points, who have technically gotten points, or have 0 points. So what are you supposed to do?
It's a great question. What are you supposed to do? I don't have an answer to it. It's unbelievable to me that they've kept Baffert from gaining points, but they just keep running horses in points races under Baffert. I don't know. It's just like if I had a horse that I thought could qualify for the Kentucky Derby, I would get it away from him. But seemingly nobody is doing that. So I have no idea, dude. I don't know. How do we handle it for the league? I don't. I have no idea. That's just that's the thing. The league became not quite as fun when that happened last year because you had a guy like Paul who had Medina Spirit, who won the Derby. You had to take it away, but it's still not official that he's not the Derby winner, and he could come out and still be the Derby winner. And then Paul's maybe should have won the league, and it doesn't. It's no fun. And now you're in a situation where how do you handle Baffert? Do we take points away? We don't let him earn points. It just doesn't make it any fun.
The one positive thing is, I know Paul did approve of the punishment to Slim, so I at least know. Even though he didn't technically get the victory, my name's in the books, not his.
Yeah,
he did approve of the punishment, which is really all Paul. I can tell you one thing: that's all Paul and I really care about is how the punishment is taking place, and he did approve of that.
Well, and so we'll give him applause for that. He took it like a champ. So,
hey, by the way, a couple people say happy birthday.
Yeah.
It's Aaron Alterman, the other dude's birthday today. What are you, like 40? Was his 40th?
God, it feels like it. No, I'm 38 today. 38.
I know.
Yeah.
Dennis wants to know why you're not watching AEW drunk on your birthday.
Well, believe it or not, I really don't drink very often, and I would not watch AEW drunk because I enjoy it and I want to remember it. And the wife and I have it recorded, Dennis, and as soon as we get this Aqueduct pick 4 over with, that's where we're heading. We're heading to watch AEW.
A couple things. I want a couple Undercliff. Lindsay wants to know.
I did not go to Undercliff tonight, Lindsay. I should have, but I did not. No,
we need to go there. That sounds great.
It does. Yes.
A couple things I want people to know about Halterman. So one, he's not lying. Like, he doesn't drink a lot. You may not think he judged, like, he's all or nothing, and usually the all is on race or on trips and things of that nature. So very rarely is he drinking. And I always say that. I always give him shit. He's an all or nothing kind of guy. You can't just have one beer with him. You're gonna have 10 beers with him.
Yeah.
But it's got the situation. So he's not lying about that. The other funny thing, I think people. So we are flying out. Halterman's wife Heather went with us to the Breeders' Cup, and Dennis, this is for everybody, but Dennis, you like AEW. We're flying out to Del Mar on Wednesday, and our flight from where were we flying from? Houston? No, that was on the way back. Chicago there. Yeah. Our flight from Chicago to San Diego was a long flight, and it had satellite. It had like DirecTV.
Yep.
So you could watch live TV. And Halterman's eyes lit up. He goes, Heather, we can watch whatever. I don't even know what it's called. We can watch the Wednesday night, the AEW, what's it called?
Dynamite. Yeah.
We can watch Dynamite tonight on the flight. And Heather got super excited. So I look over. I don't know what I was watching something, just something random. And I look over, and I think Halterman's in the middle, and Heather, or vice versa. I don't remember. And they're glued to it. They're both just die hard watching AEW. You can tell they're kind of chatting back and forth about what, laughing or whatever they saw. Like, they're totally in. I mean, I'm sitting by the two biggest nerds of the whole flight watching AEW, and they're in he's not even lying. Like, Heather is legit interested in it. I could tell by just the way she was watching. Like, it's hard to talk on a flight, obviously. Like, she was way into it just on her own. So it was I was embarrassed to sit next to them, but they loved it.
The other day, Heather and I are working in the same office, and I played theme songs from all the wrestlers in AEW to see how many she could guess right. She got a lot of them right, so she did really, really good. Usually it was 4 or 5 notes. It's like, oh yeah, that's Adam Page. Oh yeah, that's Kenny Omega. So
it was
that was good. As far as the drinking goes, I am 1,000% a social drinker, like 1,000%. And I think what happened during the pandemic, I lost like my tolerance for it because you think about Breeders' Cup Thursday, that Thursday show where I was just bombed. I've been able to drink that amount and do a show, no problem.
Yeah.
You probably knew that I had been drinking, but it wasn't incoherent babble. So I really think the pandemic,
as it was that night.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It was
Yeah.
bad, and I think the pandemic has knocked my tolerance out for it. Because I really don't. Now, like Dennis said, I don't believe that when at the Derby. Yeah, that's when I'm going hard, places like that. But yeah, it was pretty funny. I watched that back the next day. And I was just like, I don't think I can do this anymore because used to I could drink all day, all night, get on a show. Like I said, they're drinking, but it's coherent thoughts,
Well, I can't even count how many trips we've been on.
Yeah,
just you and I, where you've gotten hammered. I obviously know you incredibly well, so I know as soon as you get, I'm like, he's trash. But you hop on the air, and yeah, you can tell we've been drinking, but it's a very solid. You put your shit together, and it comes through. That night, even afterwards, I was like, I don't know what happened to him. Like, I did not see that. I can usually, I have a pretty good eye for okay, Halterman's about to get out of hand. Like, it just went from 0 to he can't see straight in the time the show started to the end. It was really bad.
It was awful. Yeah, I don't disagree. But people, it's just funny. People were texting or commenting what drunk or applying that I was alcoholic or something. It's like, yeah, that's weird is I'm not, and that just hit me. I had a couple people text me. He's like, "You good, man?" It's like, yeah, I don't know. I don't know what happened. It was close at Saratoga for the Travers. I feel like we had a few beers before we did it, and or not beers, but like hard drinks, and that's really the big problem. But anyway, and I can remember the show was fine, it went fine, but when I was done, I was like, damn, if I would have had one more, I don't know if I should have been on the air, and that's never been a problem with me. So long story short, it could be the pandemic. Probably more just I'm getting old, 38, so
well,
slowing down.
Me, on the other hand, I am not. I am a social drinker, but I'm by myself when I am drinking. So I don't. I can just drink all. I don't know if that might be worse, to be honest. So I don't even care. Drinking a little whiskey tonight, but
nice.
No, I mean, I'm like, my level is I'm like that. I'm just just straight. My line is straightforward. Yours is down, way up, down, you spike, and you fall hard. So if you ever see me trash, something happened to Jared tonight. Like, he either was roofied or something happened with him personally, because I it's hard to see me get that level.
The only time I've seen it was Florida Derby when Maxim Security won. That's the only time.
Okay. You're right. That one was rough. Yeah. We had to sit down. I had to sit down in the winter, or in the paddock.
Yeah.
In the walking ring. We had to sit down with Maxim Security, this multi-million-dollar horse walking around us, and we're just like, oh my gosh, this is rough.
But if you remember, we still did a podcast, and it was it was okay after, right? We had Magic on, and he kind of moderated it, but we weren't just terrible on it. So yeah, again, it was a lesson that I learned. We all learn lessons in life, some more than others.
You got to apply them, right? It's all about how you live. It's all about how you live your life now after that event. How will you drink Woodinville ever again? That's the question. Will you do cup shots or whatever the fuck it was called?
Bowl shots, yeah.
Bowl shots. God, that was the dumbest thing that we ever did.
Yeah.
Really bad. All right. Let's this is not a show to talk about drinking, although we do drink. Today's show, we are going to preview and do some handicapping for Saturday's late pick four at Aqueduct, including the Red Smith Stakes, which is race 9 on Saturday at Aqueduct. Let's go. Hey, the show I do, I was told to pass out last room. Let's see.
Look at this one's funny too.
Hey, cheers to that, buddy. We were wasted and you were getting married. How about that? You never know, what people are doing on a given day, right?
Yeah, it was.
I was
good day.
Yeah, that was I think I got married the day Mr. Z won. I should have known. I should have known that shit wasn't gonna work.
Yeah, he won right before we went out for the ceremony. Mr.
Yeah,
Z
the
won
Ohio
the Ohio
Derby.
Derby.
You said you won't believe this, Mr. Z won. At the time, we're like, wow, that must be a good omen.
It was a bad omen.
Fucking Mr. Z. Yeah. Oh, hope that horse is living a miserable life.
That's too far.
I don't really mean that. I'll be honest. I don't mean that. I love that horse. All right.
Okay.
All right. Get serious here. All right. 3, 2, 1. Saturday Aqueduct. That's right. We are going to New York for the late pick 4 sequence on Saturday. Race 7 will kick things off. Got a nice little sequence here, really. When you got all things considered, Aqueduct in November, you got a nice grade 2 stakes race to kind of to highlight this pick 4. You got a couple main special weights, of course, race 8. You've got a little allowance race there. So it's nice little, you've large fields. It really, it's got the, it's got the making to make a nice ticket here and to cash something here. So let's kick things off with race 7. By the way, if you're listening to this, you want to play it. If you're listening to this on whatever day, it starts at 2:43 Eastern. So if you want to get in on this, that's when it starts. It's the maiden special weight kicks things off on race 7, purse of 80K, maiden 2-year-olds. Going 7 furlongs, field of 13, only 12 will run, of course. No odds are out yet. We're doing this on Wednesday evening, so we're kind of assuming some of these horses who will be favorites, what prices we think they'll be in terms of playing against the favorites. So Halterman, 12 horses. To me, it's one of those interesting fields where it's like you could either single, whether it be, whoever you like, if you like, the Bill Mott horse, Iconic Adventure, maybe you like the first time starter for Pletcher, whatever, or you need to go super deep. It feels like one or the other.
Yeah, I definitely agree. And I went 4 deep to start it off. My top choice is going to be the Bill Mott horse that you talked about. Number 1, Iconic Adventure. Bill Mott, not really known for winning on debut a whole lot, but what he is known for is the horse really jumping up and improving in their second starts. And that's what I think Iconic Adventure is going to do today, or I should say Saturday, not today. We're way ahead of time, like you said. The horse lost by 4.5 on debut, but finished second, ran decent. And now Irad Ortiz gets aboard today. I thought that was an interesting move. I think this horse looks awfully good. I think this is one that you're going to see improve. Going 7 compared to 6.5, so pretty similar distance to that debut. It's just the natural kind of progression for this Bill Mott runner. So I did put the 1 on top. I did put number 10, Never Change, the first timer for Todd Pletcher, as the second pick there. This horse by Uncle Mo out of a Curlin mare, just seems to kind of have the look of a horse that's going to be pretty good. Luis Saez jumps aboard. These two have really been teaming up to do very well in the last couple of months, especially with 2-year-olds. So my top 2 choices here were the 1 and the 10.
Yeah, so this one was the 1 to me was the one that stood out in terms of my top choice. And so I'm not going to, I'm not going to disagree with either one of them because I think Never Change, being a first-time starter is scary, being, Ripoli stable, and of course, Todd Pletcher, Luis Saez. So we know how that goes. So those 2 are the ones for me. Iconic Adventure obviously looked very good on debut. So I thought about singling either one of them, to be honest. And then I ultimately went like 6 deep. So it's like, that's because I think, like you said, you and I were talking earlier, it's like, well, you either really feel strongly, which let's be honest, it's a 7 furlong 2-year-old race. You got to feel super strong about one of these horses to single, I mean, you're kicking things off in a 12 horse field and single. I mean, you better feel fucking good about it,
Yeah.
or you got to spread. And the way I played this sequence, I'm going to spread a little bit more here. So ultimately, I like the 1 Iconic Adventure. I like the 5 Fazaro.
Hmm.
Fazaro is a horse, the first time starter for Kelly Breen. Johnny V gets on board there, which obviously, Kelly Breen does really well with 2-year-olds, first time starters. He does well, and of course JV. We know how that goes. I like the 9 Sky and Sand. That's Steve Asmussen horse. What was your thoughts on this horse? Because I almost didn't use this horse. Sky and Sand to me is interesting from a standpoint, very big purchase price. Obviously had a lot of hopes. Size rode this horse last time out. Was a low price, not a favorite, but a low price at Belmont Park. Tried to wire the field, didn't. I got kind of used the horse for that reason. Like I think the horse could get out on a lone, kind of a lone speed scenario here. Of course, size jumps off. That's great sign if you're wanting to use the Pletcher horse to never change to the outside. But Lascano jumps on. So what do you think of this one?
Yeah, I like Sky and Sand a little bit. I went 1, 9, 10, 11. So I went 4 deep, and I think with the 9, it's kind of the look of, okay, on debut, pop the gate, gets the lead, it fades a little bit to third, beating 2 lengths, but still, you like to see a horse early in their careers as 2-year-olds have that early speed, right? So I think we're going to see that again from this horse, and I think you could expect improvement from the horse. Some people are going to look and say, well, Luis Saez was aboard last time. Now he jumps over to Pletcher. And while I would say that's not ideal, at the same time, Saez just kind of rides for Pletcher more than he does for Asmussen. So I think it was just a situation where maybe the Pletcher horse is the better of the 2, or maybe he just wants to keep that Pletcher, connection there. Lascano gets aboard. I don't hate that at all. I like Jose Lascano quite a bit. Very underrated jockey. So I definitely think the 9 is one you got to use here.
Yeah, and by the way, Lascano and Asmussen teaming up, very good. Very good. 40%. 5 starts, 40% at Aqueduct. And overall, 32%. So, I mean, when they team up, to me, that was a huge reason why I made sure I continued to use, even with Sias jumping off. Obviously, never change. We both liked. And then I went and used the 2 horses also to the outside of Never Change. Life is Great. Life is Good's older brother, I think. And no, I guess it'd be younger brother. And Main Event to the all the way to the outside. Another first time starter, big purchase price for George Weaver. Talk me through either one of these. Did you use either one of these 2?
Life is Great was the last one on the ticket. And I debated leaving this horse off for a while. And I don't like horses that have had several chances and just haven't got the job done. But the reason why I am going to use Life is Great, let's look at who he's gotten beat to. They've been some really, really nice horses. So I do think Life is Great, has a shot here. I would hate for this horse to beat me. When you look at time form figures, and that's what I really like to look at, this one has the highest one in the race. So to me, I didn't want to get beat by a horse that had that either. So I did use the 11. Yeah, I did. What the other one, the 12 you mentioned, was that the other one, the Weaver horse?
Yeah. That one to me is just a gut. I mean, that's just a gut call, really, because you really have nothing to go off of.
It's going to make me mad if that horse wins, because it definitely is one that I considered. You look at the work, the last work, it's pretty strong. Really hadn't shown a ton until that workout. That workout was very good. It's almost like, okay, popped a good work, let's put them in a race type of thing. So yeah, I get it. And I think if you're going to spread more than, 2, 3, 4 horses, that's certainly one I would put on the ticket.
I mean, to me, if you need to thin out a little bit here, that's the one. To me, Main Event's going to be a price. It's going to be a price. First time starter with a lot of other options. Yeah, but I like Life is Great as well. Just for the fear, I'm with you. Like the numbers came back fairly strong. You don't love when they kind of go back and forth, like when you don't know, like they stretched the horse out last time, then they're cutting back, and they were going, they were going shorter early. But you're right. I mean, the horse on debut got beat by like High Oak. I mean, the horse has gotten beat by Slipstream. There's some good horses the horse has faced, and you got to think that the horse has quite a bit of early speed. So, I mean, all the horse needs to do is just get a little ballsy on the front end, and this thing could get, get carried away. So I like that one. And then, yeah, like you just never know with main event. Obviously, there's some hope there. And like you said, that work last time out was pretty solid. And, George Weaver's not terrible with 2-year-olds. And obviously, when George Weaver and Cancel show up together, they're not awful as well. So just basically a gut call there. But again, if you're thinning out, I wouldn't talk you too much into that horse if you needed to cut one off. Few comments here. Nick says Asmussen running a big number coming back, beat by another in this race. Hope for a decent price. Dr. Fioranda says, happy birthday, Aaron. Here's another Oklahoma loss as a gift.
Yeah.
Let's see. Dennis. Okay, never mind. So Dennis likes a lot in this race too. So, that's kind of the angle. I think you either going thin and you're obviously going deep in other legs, or you kind of make the choice that you got to go deep here to try to survive.
Yeah, absolutely. And, Nick brought up the horse Matt Doyle, who beat Asmussen last time out. That's a Chad Summers horse that was a 7-5 favorite. Yes, that's right. Chad Summers was a 7-5 favorite in a maiden special weight. Horse couldn't get the job done. Don't really know why the horse got bet like that. And now Lascano jumps on the Asmussen horse, and now Dylan Davis now on for Chad Summers. It's a horse I didn't use. I'll let Chad beat me in this spot.
Yeah, I'll let Chad beat me in every spot. So I'm not awfully worried about it. No, yeah, I mean, I'm with you. And I was like, dang, like Chad's got a horse, like the horse was like went off as a heavy favorite. And
yeah,
what is happening right now? If Lascano jumps off,
what a gut shot by you. I'll let him beat me any race. That's
hey, you know what?
Smoke.
That's a wait, never mind. I was gonna make a comment about Chad Summers' gut. I won't. Never mind. Let's move on to the next race. Let's move to race 8, which is an allowance race, $82,000 allowance race for 3-year-olds and up, which you never won, other than a maiden claiming starter or state bred allowance. 6 furlongs on the turf, field of 11 showing up here. Halterman. To me, this was one that I needed. I felt like, and I think you and I differed a little bit here, because this was one that I felt like I at least had enough confidence to go somewhat thinner, whereas I think you spread a little deeper.
Yeah, I went 5 deep in this spot. I thought this was a very competitive race. I went 2, 6, 7, 8, and 9. Yeah, I mean, I guess I'll start with the I'm sorry, I don't have the this time form thing. You don't have the numbers. It's the 7 Scuttlebuzz. It's a horse I've used quite a bit. Horse won at a similar level to this 2 races back at this distance. I think 6 furlongs certainly the best distance for Scuttlebuzz. I like that the horse has early speed, but doesn't have to be on the lead. Those horses are the ones that usually win these 6 furlong races. A lot of times. So I do think Scuttlebuzz is an interesting horse. I also like the 7 Ring of Fire. Gonna jump up in class today, but has won 2 of 3 races. Another horse that's pretty good at 6 furlongs. Won last time out at 6 furlongs. So the 6 and the 7 were my top 2 choices there. But yeah, 2, 6, 7, 8, 9 is where I went here. This is a tough one.
Well, I didn't even use a 7, but I did use a 6. So call me, Call Me Harry. That's one that I used here for a lot of the reasons you said. I mean, obviously, Sias has drove this horse the last 2 back on board, possesses a lot of early speed. I like that about the horse. I mean, if you use Scuttlebuzz, you like Call Me Harry, like those 2, ran 1, 2 back. So I don't doubt. I don't like this. 7 horse was my 4th horse. I used 3. So the 2 others I used were the 2 Kauai, which is a great name, Kauai Mia River, Terra Nova horse with Lascano aboard. This horse tried Stakes Company last time out. Didn't run awful, but didn't run great either. Finished 4th, beaten 1 1/4. Cuts back, or at least cuts back in the class department. Cuts back a little bit in distance. This horse ran 6 furlongs last out, ran really, really well. Or 2 back, I should say, beat a comeback winner as well. So to me, that was a horse that I needed to use here. I like that the horse has never really been bad at all in all 3 or all 4 of his starts. And then I used the 10 Colton's Command. That was the other one I used here for Bill Mott and Jose Ortiz aboard. This horse has just been knocking on the door for really 3 straight starts, a third, a second, and a second. Finally gets a race here that I think this horse has a really big shot to win. So I used those 3 horses.
The 10 is one I left off. I went 5 deep and didn't play the 10. There's not going to be a big difference in my ticket price if I go 6 deep instead of 5. Dennis, I saw in a comment, Dennis says he likes the 10 as well. Give me your best case or best argument for me to add this 10 to the ticket.
Me or
either one of you guys. You first, let's say. And then maybe if Dennis wants to comment, we can throw that up as well.
Well, okay. This horse has been running in like very solid allowance, 4 straight solid allowance races. Started off. Let's start it off with the first one the horse ran, going 5.5 furlongs at Saratoga on the turf. This horse just simply did not run great. Never had much running. Never did much running at all. Rosario jumps on board next start out at Saratoga, same distance. The horse runs a really good race, runs third. They stretch the horse out. Rosario's still on board. Mind you, this horse goes off the favorite last time out. This horse has just been knocking on the door every start, 6 furlongs, 7 furlongs. I think that's the distance this horse wants to run. Now this horse gets a new rider, gets Jose Ortiz. To me, the jockey change, not to say there's anything wrong with Rosario, there's not, but to me that there's enough confidence for Jose Ortiz to jump aboard. Obviously, Bill Mott and Jose Ortiz, they really, really well. 25% they hit in 56 starts. I just think this horse deserves to be on the ticket because of what the horse has been running in. This is almost a class relief.
All right, I'm adding him on the ticket right now. So then I'm refiguring the calculations for when we put this up at the end. Okay, yeah, I'm going to add him because I feel like if I'm going this deep and I'm letting Mott Ortiz beat me, it doesn't make a lot of sense. I think Ortiz jumping on is, like I said, nothing against Rosario, but these two, Ortiz and Mott, they when they hook up, it's a pretty good result.
Yeah, see, I feel good. Both Steve and Dennis, they like the 2 and the 10. So Steve says, shout out to Justin Timberlake for quieting me a river. So yeah, I think he gets rights for that. But no, yeah, Lezcano obviously on the inside turf. That's great. I think 2 and 10 seem to be getting a lot of love here, and you like the 6. So I feel good about those 3 horses.
Yeah, I definitely. I don't think 2 and 10 is all you need. I'm glad I have 6, 7, 8 in this race as well. But yeah, I'll add the 10. It only adds $8 to my ticket. And like I said, I think this horse will be a decent price as well. I don't think this horse will be a favorite. So, all right, you guys have convinced me.
Hey, you know what? You're the only one. Like Dennis says, you're the only one not drinking. So, do what you want with that information.
Real quick about that. Here's what's funny about the Thursday show that we did, where I was definitely hammered. I told Samich, please don't go all in on Averly Jane. That horse is going to lose. Lost. I told Samich, Echo Zulu will get the distance. Don't worry about that. She did. So, my opinion, I told people really good opinions that night.
Oh yeah. And I also thought it was super funny that night you get all kinds of shit. You're a drunk. I'm not going to take advice from this idiot. Blah, blah, blah. Very next day, we're talking racing. We're doing the pod after. Why is Halterman not drinking? Why is Halterman's the only one not drinking? What's wrong with him? It's what do you want from the guy?
Yeah,
either you want him drunk or you don't want him drunk. What do you want? Okay. So, anyways,
I think they just want me to go away. So.
Hey, all I know is, that's the one thing is that made me mad. It made me mad. Is listen, I get it. He's an idiot. He's acting crazy. He needs to shut the hell up. But don't talk shit about what he's saying because I know the work that he's put in. All the stuff that he's saying he feels it's coming out of a drunk mouth at the moment. But it doesn't mean that the picks are bad.
And
So,
again,
anyways,
Everly Jane loses. Echo Zulu win on Modern Games. I'm pretty sure I maybe mentioned that horse. So.
yeah, you did like Modern Games. Of course, you know it was wrong because the horse didn't win. I don't remember the name. The horse. I mean, he did, but you didn't get credit for it. So I'm not going to give it to you. All right, let's go to the main event on the Pig 4 there, race 9, the Red Smith Stakes. It's a grade 2 or 200K for 3 olds and up, going 1 3/8 miles on the turf. Field 10 lines up for this one. It's a good field. I mean, it really is a competitive field. Tide of the Sea, Value Engineering, Soldier Rising, Serve the King, Sham Rocket, Corelli, Channel Cat, Sanctuary City, No Word, Price Talk. So Clamont's got one here. Pletcher's got a couple. Chad Brown's got a couple. We got Maker. What do you need, man? Like, to me, this is a race that I almost singled. I didn't. I wanted to, and if you really are looking for a single, I think you can at least stand on the one here, maybe. But looking forward to what's your first take at this race? Who do you think will be the favorite? First of all, do you think it's one of the Chad Brown horses?
I think Serve the King, the 4 horse, will be the favorite. And that's who I ended up picking. So that's not great. But I do think this horse will be the favorite. You know, ran in the United Nations 3 races back, which was a grade 1, and got 4th, only beaten 3. Won a stakes race at Saratoga 2 back. And then last time out was 2nd in the Joe Hirsch to Rock Emperor, so which was a grade 1 race. So I think Serve the King will be the favorite. Irad Ortiz aboard for the 3rd straight time. A lot to like. And I think this horse will come running late and get the job done. So that is who I put on top here. I did go 4 deep in the race. I was with you. I almost singled. I'll tell you why I didn't know. I went 3, 4, 5, and 7. I'll go to the 7 Channel Cat. If you've been watching Aqueduct, the turf is playing to speed very, very strongly. Now, will that hold? As we do this show on Wednesday, we don't know how it's going to play Thursday and Friday. So you need to pay attention to the track Thursday and Friday. Because if that trend, is getting reversed or it isn't as strong, Channel Cat doesn't become as strong of a play. But going this distance, Channel Cat gets out in front. That'll be hard for anybody to catch him if the track is still playing to speed. So 4 and 7 is where I started off here in this race.
Yeah, it's funny. I started off with gonna single here with I'm with you on the Chad Brown horse, Serve the King, and then I've now gone 3 deep. So and even as early as as late as right before the show started, I was 2 deep, and I was like, I just don't feel good about leaving off the 3 horse, so I added the 3. But yeah, I also have Channel Cat as well because of that reason. A couple reasons. One, the turf speed. 2, the horse kind of seemingly looks like is the fastest horse in the bunch.
Yep.
And 3, adds blinkers. So Sisterson's like, we need this horse to focus on the front end. This horse is going to go. You kind of feel like the horse is going to go. I like that JV stayed aboard.
Yep.
So to me, I think this horse, I mean, he may not be good enough. We'll find out. But I think you're also finally, this is a horse that you kind of were used to getting 10-1, 8-1, whatever on. Whereas then the last couple of races you've been getting, he was favorite 3-1, whatever. So maybe we're going to flirt back up with their, the 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10-1, whatever. I think you're going to get a better price here. And to me, he is dangerous on the front end. Like he may not, but at least I feel like enough now that he's going to go and he's going to be on the front end. It's just a matter of if he can do it or not. But I like having him included in my ticket. I think you said it. I'm going to kick myself if I'm wrong about using the wrong Chad Brown horse. But you got to think if Chad Brown got Dylan Davis, like that's the horse he got for Value Engineering. Seems like we're on the right horse with Serve the King. And the other one was the 3 horse Soldier Rising for Clement. And you and I both kind of agreed on this one in terms of why we use this horse. This horse debuts in Saratoga Derby, runs a winning race, gets beat by State of Rest. The horse goes next in the Jog Club Derby, runs a winning race. Got beat by Yibir. That Yibir.
Yeah.
And then the horse comes back and runs in the Hill Prince shorter than the horse wants to run, comes running, but just finished fifth, like ran out of room. So ran out of real estate. So to me, this distance, the horses ran some good serious races. So I think the three, just leaving the three off, was just I couldn't do it. So I think the three you have to use as well, and you get Jose Ortiz to boot.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I thought the three would be one that just like it just makes sense that this horse is going to compete here. I think the big key for the three, the track's got to kind of change how it was playing over the weekend. And again, a lot of times you see a strong track bias for a weekend, 2-3 days, whatever. We're not the only ones seeing it. The track people are seeing it too. They don't want there to be a bias. They want it to play fair, so they will adjust. So we're going to get on that card tomorrow on Thursday and on Friday and really kind of analyze, okay, has the turf course adjusted? Is it playing more fair now? Things like that. So he'll need that. He's going to need a little bit of pace. And Tide of the Sea, the Rail Horse, and Channel Cat, they might go at it. Those two do have good early speed, so it could set up for a horse like Soldier Rising. The other horse that I used was the number 5 Sham Rocket, and that's another one if the pace kind of heats up. I think Sham Rocket will be flying late. I mean, this horse just kind of always comes up with a little bit of an effort. And if they start to slow down enough, he can beat you. I think he's one that I didn't want him beating me. I'm singling in the last leg, so that gave me the opportunity to throw Sham Rocket on the ticket here and still be within budget. So I thought Sham Rocket was, kind of the last one to add. I understand that some of you might not want to throw him in there, but he's been good to me over the years.
Yeah, man, he was one that I went back and forth with quite a bit because he just doesn't. He kind of it's like he comes up with a run and he just doesn't quite get there. And I mean, he did win last time out, but I mean, at this kind of level, he definitely is a horse that like gives you that kind of run and then kind of flattens out. So for me, I more was like looking at him as an underneath play, not necessarily on top. But if he wins, I'm gonna be super pissed for myself. I'll be happy for you, I guess. But I didn't use because you could see how the horse could get this. Maybe it's like, well, this distance, like the horse, he's a toneless horse, right? Like the horse is just gonna keep going. Like the horse is just gonna keep running. So it's just a matter of if the pace melts down enough. I feel like for him. Dennis says it's an interesting race. I think the 3 is a must use. He likes value engineering, but he's torn between Tide of the Sea and Channel Cat. So give me some thoughts on Tide of the Sea, because I know that was one that you and I talked about a little bit off air about maybe also possessing some sort of early speed.
I feel like Channel Cat's a little more reliable, and I feel like he's just a little bit faster. And I think he's going to get that position over Tide of the Sea. The problem with that statement is you do have Luis Saez aboard. You do know he's going to send. It's just going to be, can he get that position, right? And I get kind of I'm torn between one of those two, because the thought process obviously is they can take the field gate to wire. So can Tide of the Sea get the position, or will Channel Cat? That's going to be the big question.
Nick Sievers wants to know about Price Talk. Really good time form number last time out in that Belmont race. Might be a bit outclassed, as he said. Obviously ran really, really well in that allowance race at Belmont Park last time out, but this was a horse that had been running in smaller level races, and this seems like quite the jump, but that race last time out was quite impressive.
He won a race for Dutro, who at that moment was just winning everywhere. Like every race seems like he was winning. Can he back that up? That's the big question. Sure, that time form number of 120 definitely could compete with this race. This was a horse 2 back that was running for a tag of $50,000 at Saratoga. Now we're in a grade 2. It's a big jump, and that's what I'm worried about. Is the jump a little too much here?
Yeah, I also don't love. I mean, I get it. He's jumping on Sham Rocket, but Castellano, jumping off and going to Sham Rocket, I don't love that as well. I think if you're looking for a huge price score, I think he might be one that you use. But for me, I went 3 deep, 3, 4, 7 here. Let's go to race 10. Let's go to the final leg here. And I think this was, but it's definitely not the best race of the sequence, but it might be the most interesting, because you have a situation that you've got it definitely feels like the first leg where it's like, well, you're either going super deep or you're going like super thin, one or single or two deep. It's a made special weight for state bred, so there you go. Going 6 furlongs, filled to 10 in here, and you and I both agree that the one Catching Cupid is a legit favorite, probably likely be the favorite, likely horse to win. But it's one of those, like I said, like if you don't go, if you don't like him, you almost have to go all.
That's yeah. I mean, that's kind of the problem, right? I debated on this for a while. I don't necessarily like singling horses like this very often, but in this situation, this sequence, and listen, it's very important not to make blanket statements about horse racing. You have to take each sequence as its own thing, and you look at this, and it's like, okay, if you don't like Catching Cupid, who do you like? Like, who's going to beat him? You watch this horse on debut. I thought he ran pretty darn well. I thought he just kind of tracked the pace, made a move, and I just feel like the horse Kenner that beat him just wasn't coming back to him. But Catching Cupid held off a 2-5 Chad Brown horse in that race and did it pretty easily. Was kind of separating from the Chad Brown horse in that spot. So I just kind of feel like this horse is just simply a little bit better than everybody that's ran. And you look at the first time starters, and they don't look like they're ones that are your typical ones that are going to get ready to fire or be ready to fire right off the bat. So for me, I thought Catching Cupid looked awfully tough here. I don't know who beats him in the spot. So I went ahead and singled the rail horse here.
So Nick asked, how this is a question that Halterman and I actually talked about earlier as well off air. How many are actually running here? 5 are entered Friday in race 6. We noticed that of course. So Hot Rod Rumble and Catching Cupid for one are both entered. They're also eligibles in that one. So is Thrill of It. Thrill of It's also eligible in that race, and Unique Unions is also eligible. So 4 of those horses are also eligibles. Catching Cupid's a 16. So I mean, you're gonna need a bunch to happen in order for in this terms the one for Halterman to not run. So they're all also eligible. So you got to think they're all going to run in this race.
It's when you look at that race, even if you have some scratches on Friday, that seems like a race where you could have a couple of like they're almost all first time starters that are in the body of that field on Friday. So you could see a really nice horse, right? We're here. I don't know what's in this. I mean, I think if they can avoid running on Friday, it would be smart because we could see 1 or 2 horses jump up and really be pretty good out of that race. We're here. It's like, this is a weak bunch. So how many will run? I think all of them entered will end up running in this race.
Yeah. I mean, that's the thing. You look at it closely or start looking at it after you dive into it. You're like, well, yeah, I think they're all going to run. It'd be very unlikely. I mean, maybe you have 1 or 2, but that don't. But yeah, I have no problem using Catching Cupid. And I think it's more about like if this race was, I don't know. It's hard for me to use a single here with the horse like this, Catching Cupid. Like you can't trust, but from a stamp, like from a, just if you look at the horse, like the horse should win, right? Mm-hmm. Like I just don't. So I have no problem singling if you need to. I'm also using the 8 Hot Rod Rumble. I went too deep here. I like this one. I went back and forth with. I also thought about using Caveman. I also thought about using Thrill of It. But ultimately, I ended up going too deep. And Hot Rod Rumble is a Steve Askerson horse that was a big-time purchase price. 4 starts, has not managed to win. Really knock on the door the last 2 efforts at Belmont Park. Irad jumps off. You got Lascano now. I mean, we know we talked. I mean, we talked about it. With Lascano and Asmussen hit a very solid rate. The early speed of this horse concerns me a little bit in terms of singling with the one. I do think Hot Rod Rumble has a shot to just try to take this race, gate to wire. I ultimately that's the only horse that scared me out of the one.
I agree that the 8 is probably going to be the one they have to run down. The problem is we've kind of seen him ran down, right? Like he had a chance, two back for sure to get the job done. It couldn't do it, and he was right there with a shot last time out and couldn't do it. So it's one of those situations now that we have 4 data points on the horse. It's like he gets less attractive to me. That being said, like I said, the race Friday that some of these are also eligibles in, to me, I think is going to be a tougher race to win than this one, right? This race is not going to be that tough to win. You're going to be able to win this race with a low speed figure. So it brings him into the equation. There's no doubt. Great connections as well. One thing we talked about, Irad jumps off and is now going to ride the 2.
Yeah.
And that horse looks awful.
Yeah, help me with that one. Like it's one thing if the horse, if he just is not in the race, right? If he's just not riding. But I mean, I tried to make as you do, because you see Irad jumping on a horse, you try to make every case in the book, right? For the horse. You try to make anything happen and it's like the horse debuts, gets beat 13 lengths on the dirt. Then they turn the horse over to turf. The horse gets beat by 7.5. And now, by the way, 44-1 on debut, 68-1 the next time out, and he gets Irad.
I can't figure it out. And the Irad has rode for Vasquez 6 times over the last year. Only 6.
Okay, yeah.
3 of them won. 5 hit the board. So it's like, well, shit. But at the same time, I can't make myself look at the past performances and find any way that this horse can compete. So if the 2 wins, tip of the cap.
Yeah, I know. I also thought about the 3 Clash AJ, because it's like, well, if you like Hot Rod Rumble, you gotta like Clash AJ a little bit, because that horse beat last time, or 2 back, I guess, on debut. Then the horse just got curb stomped, last time out. So it's just like, bottom line is it's a pretty shitty field. Not pretty, it is a shitty field. And so catching Cupid off one race, what we have, one data point that we have to go off of, like, should probably win, right? Like, it just kind of feels like it might be a better horse, but Hot Rod Rumble to me is interesting enough to use. But listen, I think you either go 1 or 2 deep here, or you go almost 10. Like you almost go all. Like, I think you really have to, because it really, you start opening up that can of worms.
Yeah.
And unique unions. This horse got banned off. So you don't even see what this horse did last time out. So you don't know what that horse is going to do this time. Like, you have no idea what these horses can do. There's just so many unknowns here.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. And like I said, if Catching Cupid was in the race Friday, this horse would not be a single for me. But, right. As handicappers, you look at your data and then you go over all of them again. It's like, okay, will they improve? Can they improve? What's their form like? Are they doing something different? And with which each of them, it was like not really, I couldn't really project a lot of improvement, right? I mean, sure. I mean, like you say, you can make a case like My Last Mission gets Irad and is working out decent. Yeah. Okay, maybe it'll improve. And then you look, okay, how much does this horse have to improve? Like 50 lengths, literally. I mean, not 50, maybe 10. I mean, the horse was just been awful. So it was tough for me to make a case for a lot of horses. And in a sequence where I just felt like you had to go deep in some of these other races, I thought this was your most likely winner in the sequence.
Dude, if we hopefully we're both alive, but if you can get alive and you get a price along the way and you get your single to this horse, I feel like you're going to be extra nervous, because having to depend on a horse like this is going to be brutal in the last leg.
Yeah, it's funny that you say that, and we had a similar situation on one we were lucky enough to hit on. I think that was Friday's ticket at Aqueduct that paid like $600, and it was just a situation almost identical to this, where it's like, this horse is not very good, but the rest of the field just wasn't. And sometimes that works out, and then sometimes your horse runs third and a couple of them do have that improvement that I just didn't see or couldn't project. So it's I agree. Is kind of the long answer I'm giving here. I do agree. I hate being single to horses like this. Take tomorrow at Churchill Downs, a horse like Thomas Shelby in the third race, right? That horse should win. That horse is good. The horse has won at different tracks and allowances. That's one. It's like, all right, I can sink my teeth into that one and feel good. Sometimes they lose just as easy as these shitty ones that you feel like you should single. So, yeah, that's just how I read it, and hopefully it's right.
All right, did you update your ticket yet?
Yes, yeah, it's all good.
All right, so let's take a look at the tickets now for Aaron and I. So Halterman's got a $48 ticket. So kicking off with leg 1, but race 7, 1, 9, 10, 11, 2, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So we talked him into the 10.
Yep.
3, 4, 5, 7 in race 9, and then single to the 1 in race 10. That's a $48.50 base ticket. My ticket for 50 cents, leg 1, 1, 5, 9, 10, 11, 12, 2, 6, 10, 3, 4, 7 in race 9, and then 1, 8 in the last leg. That's $54. So we're really close there in terms of our prices. And you singled. I couldn't come up with a single, so it's just kind of a difference of strategy there a little bit. I couldn't get on board. I mean that makes playing pick fours tough when you can't really sink your teeth into an actual single, right?
Yeah, it does. Over the years, I've had a lot more luck singling, but I don't really force it. It really came down to me of a decision of do I want to go, just 2 deep in the stakes and then 3 deep maybe in that maiden to end it, or did I feel like I needed to play 4 horses in the stakes? And I felt like I did. The first 2 legs were always going to be spreads for me, and the last 2 legs it was, I had at first I had Serve the King singled, and I thought, no, there's too many good horses in there, and he's not that much better than 2 or 3 other horses in this race. Where the 9th race, or excuse me, the 10th race, it was just, Catching Cupid is that much better if these horses just all kind of stay at the level they're at. So yeah, it's that's the thing with these sequences. There's handicapping and then there's ticket structure, and it's 2 completely different things, and you got to be right with both or you're going to get beat, and that's what makes it so difficult to hit.
Really the bottom line for me is when I've got a single, I need to be able to be like, listen, like it's a single, like in a large field or whatever the case may be. Like, so it obviously makes it tough. It could lose, but I need to be able to be like, if the horse gets beat, it gets beat. You know what I mean? But I feel like the horse can't lose. Like that's why you single. In this case, I just couldn't come up with any of those horses. I couldn't come up with the horse that I could really depend on, like saying, hey, I really think that horse is going to win, because like I just couldn't quite get there with any of them. So I think like you say, it's definitely a situation where it's more situation based.
Yep.
You never know. Like you may see 2 singles in a sequence, and you may have none. To me, I don't think you need to force a single if it's not there, and unless you're playing multiple tickets or whatever the case, or maybe you're pounding the ticket and you need to go thin on a leg, and you feel really strong enough, like you should say, you play a $10 ticket and you've got one of the Chad Brown's horses singled or whatever like that. I get that. I do that. I understand that. But if you're spreading, you're playing a 50-cent ticket, you're going deep in some legs, like to me, you don't have to single if you don't necessarily find one, as long as it hits within your budget. So all right, that's the late pick 4 on Saturday at Aqueduct. Those are our tickets, and good luck, everybody.
Yeah, the single conversation is interesting because like tomorrow at Aqueduct, I don't have a single anywhere on the card, but tomorrow at Churchill, I do. It's just You can't force them. A lot of people think you should. You always have to have single no matter what. And
Yeah.
in no matter who you listen to, what you believe, this is the God. This is a God honest, whether it be truth or fact about this game. There is no blanket statement that's accurate in this game. Every situation is different, and you got to make decisions based on the situation that's in front of you. There isn't, you have to play a single, or you have to go against this favorite, or this or that.
Right.
It's not a thing. Everything is different. Every situation is different.
Yeah, there is no perfect. I mean, if there was, it'd be easy.
Yeah.
I mean,
right.
Hey, Cohen's watching.
Nope.
What's up, buddy? Cooper, what's up, dudes? I'll call you in a second. All right.
And I agree. That's why it's so much fun.
Yeah. If it's easy, everybody would do it, Nick. All right. So time I have, check us out, racingdudes.com for our free picks and our premium selections on our products page. Click the Get Racing Dudes Premium button at the menu at racingdudes.com to learn more. It's a good time to be a subscriber. Yes, the Breeders' Cup is over, but we've got a ton of racing action. Of course, guides coming out next couple of months. Of course, the Pegasus is just around the corner, and it sounds like we're going to see a Life is Good versus Nick's Go. Like, Nick's Go's back with Cox. Life is Good definitely seems to be pointing there. We might be seeing, like, this might be the newer version of the Chrome versus Arrogate kind of combo.
I love that comparison. I hadn't really thought of it yet, but that certainly is what we're going to see, right? So that's going to be really cool. It's a lot like Accelerate versus City of Light as well that year.
There you go.
Classic winner versus Dirt Mile winner. But I feel like these two horses are bigger stars than those two. So, yeah, I think Arrogate Chrome makes more sense.
Dude, I think, what's funny about that is it didn't pan out to anything. Like, you just knew it was over very quickly. And obviously Chrome didn't run a step. Yeah. And Nick says, Oaklawn starts in like a couple weeks.
2 weeks, Nick. December 3rd, I believe, is opening. I'm 99% sure is opening day. Yeah. So enjoy this week. Enjoy the Thanksgiving weekend. That's always a really, really good weekend for racing, as Thanksgiving weekend. And then guess what? We're back. Oaklawn is back. I read today 400 horses already on the grounds at Oaklawn. So you could bet it's going to be a hell of a time having Oaklawn back.
It's nuts. It doesn't even seem real that that's actually something that's happening. But yeah, December 3rd, Friday, December 3rd, mark your calendars. Oaklawn kicks off. Of course, it's going to run. It's crazy. It's going to run, obviously, until May. So, I mean, this thing is going to be a huge meet. And, I mean, shit, I wouldn't be surprised if they have to cancel some days. We know how that goes, right?
Yeah.
But, hey, I love that they're trying. And you got a 2-year-old race on to kick things off December 3rd. A 2-year-old 6 furlong race, stakes race.
I would like to know how long it's been since a 2-year-old race has been contested at Oaklawn Park, if ever. I'm surely they have, but it's had to have been a long, long time.
How could it? Because I'm sure there has, but like you say, like, you're not seeing many 2-year-olds around in March. It's crazy.
It's there's a rule where 2-year-olds can't even be allowed on the grounds before this year. So it's going to be very, very awesome to see that. I can't wait. And to have Oaklawn opening and the Gulfstream Park Championship meet opening. So, this weekend you could say, well, this isn't that great weekend for racing, and I can't argue with you. But like I said, you get the Thanksgiving holiday weekend is always really, really good. Then you got Oaklawn, Gulfstream, and the Cigar Mile the next weekend. And like I said, Gulfstream, Oaklawn just going head-to-head all through December. December, all of a sudden, is a very, very good month for racing.
Yeah, it definitely is like the perfect stepping stone, which is obviously why they did it. the perfect stepping stone to get into January, February, obviously, and then we get really rolling with the Pegasus in January, into January, and of course Derby preps. We know how that goes. Dennis is really wanting to know an answer to a question, so you need to help him out here.
What's the
have
question?
have a question for tomorrow? Battle Scar thoughts.
Thoughts on that horse? New York bred for Chris Block. Gets claimed for 75,000 after breaking maiden and private purchase. Goes back in stakes and had a rough trip. Now is back in the allowance ranks. I did not use the horse, but that's a race I could see about 6 or 7 of them winning, and it was a situation where the budget didn't allow me to use the horse. So, yeah, I mean, interesting horse. Far outside post, not a huge fan of that, but I mean, I'm not over the moon about it one way or the other, but can the horse win? I think, numbers wise and kind of looks pretty competitive compared to, like I said, 4 or 5 others in there that have just as good a shot.
Nick says, I remember the purple something guide in 2020.
Yeah.
We need that
Purple
this
Martin.
year. The purple Martin. We in 2020 we at that time we had nothing. We just we got to do some kind of guide. We promised our subscribers a monthly guide. We're gonna do a guide. The purple Martin happened to be it. So maybe we should bring it back. I don't know. I don't remember how well they did.
That was during that time period in April, where it was Oaklawn and Gulfstream and Tampa. Those were your thoroughbred racetracks that were running during the weekends. And then you had Fawner and Will Rogers Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. And then you had Los Al and Remington for quarter horses. And that was it, guys. That's all we had for about 2 months.
Didn't 8 Rings come back to try to run in that race?
No.
What was the Baffert horse I feel like that ran in that year?
You know what? It may have been 8 Rings. Okay, I gotta look that up. Hold on.
I'll look it up.
It was a Baffert horse. He got smoked.
No, he ran in the Bachelor. 8 Rings did.
8 Rings did. Okay.
In 2020.
Purple Martin. I can't remember who was in it.
I'm gonna try to look it up.
That year, CC won the Apple Blossom.
Oh, you know who won that race?
The Purple Martin?
Let's see. No. Oh yeah, I know the Purple Martin. Who won that race? And it wasn't. So I was thinking of the Bachelor. It was Kamari.
Okay, that was the day it rained so damn hard.
Yeah, Frank Charquette was second. Edgeway actually was third.
Was Frank Charquette in that?
Second, yeah.
Second, okay, yeah. Man, that was I remember Kamari. Yeah, just smoked him.
It's funny you asked this question. Dr. Firand asked, who won the contest concerning the Baffert capture this week? I got to tell you guys, y'all blew the expectations out of the water for that one. I just posted that on there. I thought this will be funny. Get a couple comments. We'll pick one. I don't even know what it's up to now. It's over 100, I feel like.
I was going to say, the contest is still going on.
Yeah, it's still going.
We're going to have to cut it off at some point, though.
Yeah, we'll make a comment, and the winner will get a free day or something of picks or whatever. But that was. I mean, my phone was blowing up, and then the next day you did one on the Rock Your World stuff, and that blew up. It's like shooting fish in a barrel, man. It's so easy right now.
The Rock Your World stuff is. I'm not gonna name any names or anything. Right?
Please do,
because that's not what it's about. But it's I was sitting here Tuesday. I did that Tuesday, and I'm like, these people are lunatics. Because the thing was, the Derby ruined Rock Your World. Derby people ruined Rock Your World. He won the Santa Anita Derby by open links and earned a buyer speed figure better than anything the crop had seen. He was the second choice to win the freaking race. And so what I did, these people are they ruined him. They're idiots. Why'd they do it? So what I did, I started searching each person's Twitter that I would see these comments for to see what search Rock Your World to see what they said about him in April. No lie. Almost all of them picked him to win. And the couple that didn't pick him to win had retweeted or quote tweeted articles about how well that horse was suited for the Kentucky Derby. And now we're here calling these people, these owners, idiots for running the second choice in the, for the Derby, who had smoked them in the Santa Anita Derby and the Kentucky Derby. And the whole thing, again, it is a blanket statements and how stupid they are in horse racing. People, anytime this happens, people go, well, the Derby ruined them. Yeah, sometimes the Derby does ruin horses. This is not the case. Every situation is different, and a lot of people cannot see it. And it's just like, I was reading those comments and I'm like, these people are out of their mind. Like, he should have skipped it and went to the Preakness. Like, you would have lost your mind if that would have happened, Like,
yeah, you picked the horse. So, I mean,
these people, like I said, there was one, again, I'm not going to mention the name. There was one guy, and I don't think he even commented on mine. He was commenting on his own Twitter feed, just blowing up his Twitter feed about it. And I thought, well, let's see what this guy said. Maybe he's always hated that path for him. And if you had back in April, more power to you, right?
Yeah.
I swear to God, he had like 8 tweets from April. I love Rock Your World in this race. I just watched his workout. Oh my God, he's going to win. There's no way he won't be on the lead in this race. On and on and on. And then this guy's saying how dumb they were for running him in the Derby. I mean, it's incredible how dumb people are.
It's always
really
easy.
Is. I mean,
it's always easy to talk shit after, It's always easy to do that.
Well, yeah, it's like, I don't know. It's crazy. It's like me if the 1 loses and we lose and I miss the pick 4, I come on and go, gosh, why would anybody pick that 1? How dumb was that? The 2 was clearly the one to pick. I mean, it's crazy.
Nick says, so much love Medina Spirit because of how Rock Your World ran in the Santa Anita Derby. So it's funny how that works out sometimes.
Okay, so 2 points. One, Samich was one that hated the fact that they trained him up to the Derby that way. He said 1 race on the dirt to the Derby is terrible. So I'll give Samich credit. And by the way, he was not one saying the Derby ruined him. But think about if Rock Your World would have skipped the race, okay? And the horse that he beat by 5 lengths won the Kentucky Derby. Think about what people would have said after that race about those.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
I mean, it's insane to blame the Kentucky Derby and the owners for running the Kentucky Derby on what happened to Rock Your World. It's insanity. He just wasn't very good. I mean, but you have to run in the Kentucky Derby when you're the second choice to win the race, and you just won the Santa Anita Derby and earned a triple-digit buyer. You're not going to skip it. That's crazy.
Like, I don't care who it is. If you win the Santa Anita Derby by open links, you're running in the Kentucky Derby. You just are.
I mean, if he would have ran in the Santa Anita Derby and he got 3rd, and he was like the 20th horse on the list, and they ran him, then that's stupid. I agree. It's not the case. I mean, it's just like, it's crazy.
I mean, I didn't like the horse, but at the same time, I was worried about him because it's like he ran so good in Santa Anita Derby, you could see him. You didn't know what he was. I was on the side of I didn't like him, but if he would have won, you would have been like, well, shit,
Yeah.
I just don't to me the whole theory of it ruining him is just insane.
Well, and not to mention, Rosario didn't have his foot in the irons when he broke from the gate. Like, what if he would have broke? He may have ran like 3rd or 4th or 5th. He may have been up there with, you never know. Probably not, but you never know. I mean, maybe that's what ruined him. The damn jockey didn't have his feet in the irons.
Rosario didn't know the race was about to start. So he didn't have his foot in his irons, He wasn't ready. No one told him they're about to go. But yeah.
And here's one last thing, because this is stupid, and I don't want to talk about this anymore. A lot of people have said this. Well, he's a turf horse. Look at his numbers and tell me he's a turf horse. His best numbers have come on the dirt, which is weird. Now, obviously, his 2 races on the turf there were good, But I don't think he was any kind of horse. He was a horse that just kind of peaked and got a huge win and just fizzled out.
Yeah. I mean, obviously that was you can't take anything away from that performance in the San Antonio Derby. It was a great performance, and
Yeah.
he beat a good horse. No matter what you think of Medina Spirit, I mean, I think we've decided that. I mean, he's a good horse. He, Rock Your World was a big reason why I was so confident in Nick's Go in the Breeders' Cup is just because Medina Spirit could not run with Rock Your World that day. He couldn't run with Life is Good in the San Felipe, and I didn't know. I mean, I suspected very heavily that he could not run with Nick's Go in the Breeders' Cup, and that obviously was right. So I think you just got to use you got to find your wingles and however you can, just like Nick said, Samich didn't like Medina Spirit because of Rock Your World. Well, Rock Your World was awful. Medina Spirit won. You just never know. So just kind of use your angles how you can.
I mean, it's just the horse he beats in the San Antonio Derby wins the Kentucky Derby, but Rock Your World shouldn't have ran in the Kentucky Derby. Okay.
All right.
You've never owned a horse without telling me you've never owned a horse, right?
Yeah. You go first.
By the way, Derby Fever earned that horse a stud deal, because if they would have just kept him on the turf and dicked around with him, he wouldn't be standing at stud.
Well, yeah. I mean, if you're not gonna shoot for the Kentucky Derby, why are you running the San Antonio Derby?
Exactly.
And it's like, oh well, we wanted to see if he was Derby material. Oh well, he did win the San Antonio Derby by open links, but we're not going to do that. That makes a lot of sense.
It's funny. My dad gets mad about sports, and I'm calm on that show. I get mad about racing, so he would be the calm one in this situation.
Yeah, your dad would give a shit in this conversation.
No, he said, "Who is Rock Your World?"
Yeah. Where's Santa Anita? When's Oakland? I know when Oakland starts.
Yeah. My dad would have got a kick out of Nick's Oakland comment, and that's it.
Yeah, no, he'd be like, I know when Oakland starts, I'll be there. But Santa Anita, I didn't know they still had horses there. So yeah. that's a Mike Alterman quote right there. It's like I just picked the horses I knew. I don't know. That's who I pick.
Yeah.
Make sure you go follow us on Twitter at Racing_Dudes, Instagram, Facebook. You can check out all episodes on Blinkers Off, of course, by visiting our podcast page at racingdudes.com, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, Amazon Music, Stitcher, even Captivate. Magic Mike will be on tomorrow. Of course, we will not, since we did this on Wednesday night. So Thursday, check out the Magic Mike show. I have no idea what they're doing. They may not be doing Aqueduct now because we did Aqueduct. We don't care, though. We don't care. Just listen to them. Listen to the commentary. What not to pick? I don't know.
We used to do shows for two people for years, so we've earned our right to pick our track that we want to do.
Yeah, we jump in before them. It doesn't matter. You pick you pick a new track. Okay, we started this. You didn't.
Yeah, exactly.
Anyways, all right. So check out the Magic Mike show tomorrow. To get their thoughts on insert track. All right, Halterman. I'm Jared Welch. He's Aaron Halterman. Good luck this weekend, guys.